So Bernie Sanders' campaign manager and my buddy here, Buck, go into a bar and, I don't know, is there a punchline there? What happened?
Well, you're going to see the punchlines for yourself, Crystal, because Jeffrey Weaver and I did get a chance to go into a very cool bar in the Shaw neighborhood here in D.C. We talked about drinks and comics, whether Bernie supporters might be feeling the burn in 2020, and I got to tell you, the tequila was so delicious, it even made the socialism go down smoothly. Hey everybody, welcome to Buck in a Bar. I'm actually here at The Passenger, which is an awesome spot in DC in the Shaw neighborhood, and with me is Jeff Weaver, campaign manager for Bernie Sanders 2016. Great to see you, man.
Hey,
thank you so much.
Yeah,
our inaugural Buck at a Bar. Yes, where a plumber could sit next to a poet and plot the next revolution. I believe that's what Tom tells us.
All right, well, I'll be the poet of this one, or I'll be the plumber. I don't care.
You be the poet. We do it either way. Before we get into all the fascinating stuff I want to talk to you about, you got a book out. You also just ran one of the most interesting political campaigns in memory, and that's coming from a conservative.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
But it was certainly fascinating to watch it all play out. I do want to ask you about your beverage choice.
This is a lovely rye, 16-year-old rye from Lock, Stock, and Barrel, recommended by our barkeep here. It is delicious, and I'm enjoying it. Looks like I might have another one before the show's over.
I'm drinking an Asombroso Reposado. What was the biggest takeaway from you as somebody who was not just in the trenches, but actually leading the fight from the trenches for the Bernie Sanders revolution of 2016?
It was just like the hunger in America for somebody with his vision who they rightly believe was an authentic messenger of that vision.
People that were in their 20s, their 30s. Bernie, if you were a Democrat, was what was exciting. People describe this as a civil war within the DNC that was kind of suppressed. People say that it shows there's a fracture within the party. What do you say?
2016, in that context, is really a playing out where the grassroots of the party says, no. We're tired of this rightward shift that started in the 90s. You know, Obama started to move us back in the right direction, but had to deal with this, basically the collapse of the world financial system, which was a little bit time-consuming for him.
It was a big thing.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Do you not have the standard bearer yet? Where does it go now?
Well, look, any party that doesn't have the White House, that doesn't have the Congress, doesn't have a quote-unquote standard bearer, and that, in many ways, the 2020 presidential primary will be, we'll fight that out and figure out who that's going to be, right? If you look at issues that Bernie talked about at the beginning of his campaign, which everybody's like, oh, these are crazy ideas. Medicare for all, there was just a report out, half the candidates, Democratic candidates for Congress, who raised $1,000 or more, have Medicare for all in their literature, right?
Gotta ask you.
Yeah.
Bernie gonna run again?
How dry that hole is, people gotta keep drilling.
If I didn't ask, people would say, come on, you got that guy, he's drinking, he's at a bar, you gotta ask.
Yeah. Look, Bernie hasn't decided to run, he hasn't decided not to run.
Single greatest comic book character of all time? For you?
Oh, for me personally, because Bernie and I have had this discussion. In fact, Bernie during the campaign was asked Batman or Superman. Superman.
He went Superman.
Yeah.
You get one superpower, what's it going to be?
Reading minds, I think, would be, in some ways, the most exciting and the most disappointing. Because we'd be sitting here, right, and I'd be reading your mind. You'd be like, God, I hope this interview ends because Weaver's really boring the hell out of me, right? And then, so I think it's got to be either invisibility or flying, right? Those have got to be, it seems to me, the top two, right?
I go invisibility, actually.
Really?
I think that'd be amazing, especially with Twitter these days. To be able to actually just disappear sounds amazing to me.
Yeah, well, please, believe me.
So, I mean, you're probably going to get some hate mail for this one. We're not letting you rather get out of here without answering this one, Marvel or DC?
Wow, that's a tough one. Because the movies have been so lopsided, right? Marvel has had a lot more success with movies. In comic books, the monthly comics, DC is doing much better now, but it goes back and forth. I don't know. I was always a Marvel guy.
Yeah, me too. Actually, X-Men, I remember being young and reading the X-Men comics. That was the one I knew the best. I had the figurines, I had stacked of the comics, the whole thing. And on my own, at a very young age, coming to the Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King dynamic of Charles Xavier versus Magneto and the approaches to dealing with oppression and everything else. And I remember being like, oh, comic books can actually have a powerful message.
Yeah. Well, Marvel in that era, in the 60s, and they deal with like drug use, they deal with race relations in America, they deal with the Vietnam War, and X-Men are a sort of stand-in for every sort of oppressed community, right?
Jeff Weaver, thank you so much for joining us here for Buck at a Bar, and good luck with the book which is how Bernie won for everybody who's watching, and also with what happens next. I have a feeling you're going to be very busy. That's my prediction.
I hope so. Well,
cheers.
Congrats on your show.
Thank you so much.
Do you think that X-Men could be the thing that brings the country back together?
If they start making better movies based on the X-Men comic book series, because up to this point it's been a little disappointing. But
you haven't liked any of them?
I think they've been pretty weak sauce
We're gonna have to
overall.
talk about
I know, we have to discuss. I'm more of an Iron Man guy, so anyway, the Bernie Sanders running discussion, I know it's one that he has all the time.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You were in the room.
I know, I asked him,
what did your
and he
spidey
said,
senses tell you?
I think Bernie's going to run again. I think Bernie's going to. The guy's got a lot of energy. You know, he's spry.
He does.
You know, he
does,
a good
and
job.
he's very confident in his ideas. And you know, unless he sees someone who's like a logical successor that he could hand the Bernie crown to.
Yeah, it'd be nice because, you know, with Bernie, at least you don't have somebody who is an automaton product of the swamp that can't actually connect with voters. So that's a better move than the alternative, which unfortunately the Democrats, for them, went with in the last election.
I agree.
I know. See, I get her on my side with the Bernie stuff, which is always a lot of fun.
All right, they let us come back today, so I think they're going to let us come back tomorrow.
We got at least one more show on us, I think.
We've got some good things planned, including this is going to be an incredible interview with a North Korean defector who actually lived in North Korea and got out. Her name's Yeonmi Park. You do not want to miss that.
And I hear you had some delicious food at an embassy, mais oui?
It was at the ambassador's residence, not the embassy.
But
it was equally fancy, let's just say that.
I'm sure it was very, very fancy. Can't wait to hear about that.
Indeed. Well, thank you all so much for coming back for day 2, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Take care.